Are you a job seeker today who has consistently been looking for jobs, or probably have just finished college and you're now getting to that space where you need or are actively looking for a job? So, this period is always quite challenging, quite at times frustrating, quite demanding, and many a times you will find that it is a time when the best of you is tried. Why? Because you will meet a lot of people, you will have a lot of engagements, but at times there seems that there is nothing that is happening. And of course, the expectation for many of us is that by the time we leave college, is that we'll get in the job market, and I like to say, we feel very hot for the market. And therefore, you expect that the market will just embrace you. But lo and alas, you find uh, it's not what you thought it would be when you are just about clearing school or just preparing to go into work life. So, I want to discuss with us how to prepare for a job interview, because this is one of the areas where if you get it right, then the chances of them getting a job become very high, and the possibility of you actually performing well in an interview and subsequently getting a job become very high. So, what are the things that you need to do or to prepare or to work around when you are preparing for an interview? The first thing that you must do is to get proper understanding of the organization that you are going to be interviewed, what they do, what business they are in, what industry they are in. I have for over 10 years sat in interviewing panels where we interviewed different people. The most frustrating thing for the panel or the people in the panel that is interviewing you is to actually realize that you came not with a basic understanding of whatever it is that the organization does, and subsequently what you are meant to be doing there. So kindly get some time and understand the organization that you are actually going for an interview. The second thing that you must do is that you must understand the role that you have actually applied for. There is nothing as that puts an interviewer off, like as when you find an interviewee who says, I've come here for an interview, and you ask them, so what role did you apply for? And at the blank, they actually have no idea of what role or what opportunity or what vacancy they actually applied for in that organization. And I think this is mainly because with technology today, there are probably many WhatsApp group for probably cohorts or graduates of various institutions who are job seeking. And therefore, when a job opportunity is posted, you find they post that job opportunity in that WhatsApp group. So many people apply. Probably many even not asking or interviewing or interrogating what is this opportunity about. So you find that is why it's very common today for when you are conducting an interview to actually find that you are actually interviewing people who are in the same class, in the same university, and therefore you realize that most of them will not actually have gotten to know what position are we actually interviewing for. So it's important as a job seeker that you actually understand and sit down to actually plan and understand the role that you are actually applying for. Do not go for an auditor job when you have done HR. You don't want to land yourself in a marketing interview when you've done accounts. You need to have relevance. You don't want to land in a probably in an interview where probably somebody in the medical field is being interviewed. Your background is in business, so it's important that you understand the role for which you are actually applying. The third thing that you must do, and this actually frustrates me quite a lot, is that many people come for an interview not prepared in terms of dressing. I want to say, as an interviewee, I don't expect you to actually look like $1 million. I expect you to have shown interest in actually attending an interview. An interview is actually a process where you are actually selling your capabilities, your abilities, your attitude, your presentability to that person who is interviewing you. And one of the most frustrating things is to find somebody who made zero effort towards dressing well, towards having their hair well done, towards probably just even ironing a shirt, towards putting on a tie, towards having a proper bag, and packaging yourself well in terms of your appearance. So please make sure that you dress well. That is the first level of interaction that the interviewer actually gets with you. And that, I'm reminded of one of my former bosses who used to tell us that perceptions inform decisions. And so when I see you, I form a perception in my mind. So if you came for an interview, honestly, not even having a shirt that is ironed, not probably taken care of your hair, looking not well groomed, it informs me then of the kind of person you are. And you do not want to lose opportunities simply because of things that you could have done. So that is the third thing that you must actually be very clear about preparing for. The fourth aspect is getting your documents right. Never go for an interview when your documents are not properly arranged. Make sure that your documents are well arranged. Make sure your CV is up to date. Make sure that most relevant documents are placed in order. Your documents are placed in order of relevance or in order of importance. The most important document most of the time being your university papers, going now downwards towards other qualifications that you have, probably all the way to whatever lower levels of education and other professional papers that you have. But many a times even the interviewer will actually tell you that these are the papers that you need to bring for the interview. Please have them in that order. Please do make an effort to have some clean papers. Probably don't bring papers that you have gone for 3-4 interviews with. Probably you're not required to leave behind this your documents. Just have a clean copy of your documents. That talks a lot about you. Put them in a proper document wallet. Put them in a proper clean envelope. That shows that you are actually somebody who is able to manage themselves. Because those are some of the small things that tells the person interviewing you that you are actually ready for the role that you are interviewing for. So that becomes a very, very important aspect for you. Prepare well for and have your documents well in order. The other thing that you have to do is actually not to panic. It's easy. An interview should be easy. Don't panic. Be composed. Purpose and plan to actually scan the environment. That's why I always say, wherever you're going for an interview, kindly get there 20 minutes, 30 minutes before time. That also communicates a message. Yeah, so that should actually be point number 5. Point number 6. Sorry, that get there before time. Get there well before everybody. You become crowded in the room. Get there so that you are able to acclimatize, to scan the environment. You see that environment. Learn if it's a work. If you are being interviewed from an office where you will actually be needed to report to, then look at the environment, gel with it, learn how these people are conducting themselves, because that even tells you that when you go into the interview room, what kind of an environment you're going to find. So, and that then will help you to a big extent not to panic. It will help you not to have had a pre-experience of what the environment in that organization is like, and therefore you are able to answer or conduct yourself in an interview in a way that you're composed and well ready and able to actually give value for yourself in that interview. And therefore, as I say, do not panic. Do not panic. That was point number 5. Do not panic. An interview, I like to think of an interview as just a point or a discussion where we are just trying to find how suitable you are. And we go through interviews each and every other day, probably not very formal, but you are always consistently in an interview. So compose yourself. Listen to the questions that are being asked. Answer questions relevantly. Answer questions as they have been asked. And if you do not understand what has been asked, kindly always have the courage to go back and ask or say, I did not understand this. Kindly, what do you mean? Other than trying to beat around a corner or a question to try answer a question in the way in which you would have wanted that question asked, just seek clarification on the questions that are asked. And the 7th thing that you need to be ready for is the golden question of any interview. When you are asked, tell us about yourself. Unfortunately, I've found that when many people come for interviews today, they have a rehearsed script. So you are coming to tell us something that you have thought about, something that you have rehearsed, something that that sounds so much of a chorus. Also, when you interview people of around the same age group, or probably people who are actually coming from the same organization, they'll tell you the key things you will hear: I'm well organized, I work under minimum pressure, I can work under minimal supervision. I'm able to work under pressure, I'm able to work under minimum supervision, I'm a go-getter, I'm able to work by deadlines and hit my targets. That many a times is not what that question is all about. That question is about expressing who you are. That question is about saying, who are you as an individual? Probably talk about your personal attributes. Talk about you are organized. Talk about what you believe in. Talk about then use your personal attributes to then go around in a clever way, talking about the relevance that then you bring to this organization if considered for that position. So kindly, do not go and do the normal thing, hardworking, I am organized, I can work under minimum supervision. That is not what that question is all about. It talks about me. It talks about your beliefs. It talks about you as an individual. It talks about your bio information, basically. Then now you spice it up a bit by talking about your attributes, which then helps in creating the believability with the people who are actually interviewing you. And number 8 is do not fear to ask about remuneration. Never leave an interview room before asking that question. Why is that question important? It talks about your ability to express yourself. It talks about your ability to command audience. It talks about your ability to seek understanding of something that you actually have not understood. So be very careful that you always leave the interview asking that question. And now also in our next session, we are going to learn how to bargain, how to negotiate for a salary, how to negotiate for remuneration, how to actually point out your value, because that becomes important, because you'll be paid based on how well you can articulate yourself. So those are the things that I feel wherever you are preparing for an interview, have these things in check, have these things well outlined. Prepare yourself. Do not rehearse, but prepare. Do not go there to sound like you are reading a script. Go there sounding like somebody who is knowledgeable, Know they are sounding like somebody who knows what they came for. Know that, go there knowing that you've actually come to sell yourself. Because an interview is simply a process where you sell your capabilities, where you sell your value, and therefore the employer seeks to find whether they actually are finding a match for the roles that they have, based on the capabilities that you present, that you are able to meet and you are able to actually perform the functions at hand. So make sure you subscribe to this, like this video. Kindly subscribe to the Excellence Molders International channel, and we'll be sure to keep you posted with more relevant information about life in general, about preparing for your work and your career, about your personal finances, and we'll ensure that we'll be able to help you achieve the most out of life through our coaching, mentorship, and training. Thank you very much.